Sometimes players slip through the cracks, even the biggest superstars. Maybe that's why they turned out to be the best. That drive from every doubter, chip on the shoulder from slights they've heard their entire life. Some of the names on this list will shock you. Here are 10 NFL stars who weren't highly recruited. Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald can call himself something very few other defensive tackles can, a playmaker. But 6'1" and 260 pounds isn't exactly what colleges are going to recruiting wars for. Donald's dominance was overshadowed by his lack of size, and that kept him off far too many scouting boards. Despite playing both ways and being named All-State in his junior and senior season of high school, only 4 colleges offered Donald. Aaron surprised everyone on signing day when he went to the hometown Pitt Panthers over Toledo where his older brother played. His play at Pitt looked just like it does in the league, knifing through backfields and wreaking havoc against linemen he supposedly was too small to get by. By the end of his college career, our former 3-star afterthought was the ACC Defensive Player of the Year. His senior season was one of the greatest in NCAA history, running away with the Nagurski, Outland, Bednarik, and Lombardi Award. Even with all that, NFL scouts let him fall to the 13th pick in the draft, and he's been the cornerstone for the LA Rams ever since. Russell Wilson. Let's keep it real. Russ is here because of his size. In high school, he led his team to 3 straight state titles, but college coaches didn't care because he didn't crack the 6-foot barrier. Every recruiter asked if he could play DB instead of quarterback. His high school coach believed in Wilson so much that they drove all over the state of Virginia to throw at various camps. Despite showing out, college coaches couldn't get past his height. He hit every tangible and intangible, but coaches were so scared to put a 5'11" QB at the helm of their program. The high school star couldn't even get any interest from local colleges like Virginia Tech or Virginia, and North Carolina refused to offer Wilson despite some interest. In the end, only Duke and NC State gave Wilson a chance. Wilson chose the Wolfpack and gave them their best years since Phillip Rivers before grad transferring to Wisconsin. In his 1 year at Wisconsin, they won a Big Ten championship, and Wilson set the NCAA passing efficiency record. It's like we don't learn from our mistakes, though, as the former 2-star fell all the way to the 75th overall pick in the NFL draft after a punter. A punter. Because coaches were yet again hung up on height, they missed out on a generational passer. Bobby Wagner. Bobby Wagner is the classic short basketball player who tries out football and it changes his life. Bobby was still holding on to hoop dreams until his senior year of high school, when he put the basketball down to hit the gridiron. Wagner was natural, catching 11 touchdowns on offense and racking up 112 tackles on defense. He barely knew what he was doing, yet he was such a special athlete, it just worked. Despite becoming the best player on his high school team in just one offseason, Wagner sat a week before signing day as the 2036th ranked recruit and offerless. That's when Utah State flew him out for a visit and offered him. Come to find out, his high school head coach pulled some strings to get that offer for Bobby, the only one he would get to play college ball. But that didn't discourage Bobby Wagner. If you can play, they'll find you. It gave me the opportunity I needed, he said. The 2036th recruit helped change the dynamic of Utah State football forever. The Aggies went to their first bowl game in over a decade. Once an afterthought and undersized, Wagner was named the 2011 WAC Defensive Player of the Year. And you could tell he was only getting better. He was too dynamic to stay unselected for long, as the Seattle Seahawks chose him in the 2nd round of the 2012 draft. And the rest is history. Adam Thielen. Want to talk about a true diamond in the rough? Few players had a harder path than Adam Thielen. Adam was a 4-sport athlete at Detroit Lakes High School in Minnesota. It didn't matter how, Adam's biggest dream was to play college sports somewhere. He just assumed that it would be basketball. But at the last possible second, the Division II school Minnesota State Mankato showed up. Unlike everybody else on this list, Thielen wouldn't play Division I football. Minnesota State scouted him in a high school all-star game and offered him a $500 scholarship. Yeah, you heard that right, a $500 scholarship. Because his dream was to play college ball, Adam jumped at the chance. This is the part where we tell you he crushed it and became the greatest D2 receiver in history, right? Not really. He put up average numbers. His senior year was his only 1,000-yard collegiate season. Unsurprisingly, Thielen didn't get an invitation to the NFL Combine, so he ran at a regional combine in Chicago and Dallas. He left the 2013 NFL Draft as an undrafted free agent and with just a workout for the Minnesota Vikings. He made the most of it, making training camp. This is where we say he became a hometown hero, right? Not really. He was cut and put on the practice squad, while he fought day and night to become even a special teamer, earning a spot on the Vikings lineup. Then, yeah, he became a hometown legend. Josh Allen. Josh Allen put his small town of Firebaugh, California on the map by dominating on the gridiron and giving Firebaugh High School their best seasons in program history. He was already a hometown hero, and everyone knew who he was, except for anyone outside of Firebaugh. As the town's star athlete, Allen played nearly every sport: basketball, baseball, and even ranked in agricultural contests. But he didn't have time to go to big college camps and give people a live view of his live arm. So he finished high school and went through signing day without any offers. Allen refused to give up his dreams of college football, though, and it took a coach from JUCO Reedley College to keep those dreams alive. In the offseason, Allen grew 2 more inches and filled out his new 6'5" frame, rocket arms still attached. After an incredibly dominant season at Reedley, interest was still minimal. His first offer came from Eastern Michigan, and only after they missed out on another QB, Wyoming offered too. When Allen went on a visit to Wyoming, Eastern Michigan pulled their offer, so it made Josh's decision easy. He was a Wyoming Cowboy. At Wyoming, he fought through injuries and the depth chart to become the starter. Allen's ability to spray the ball anywhere on the field and take off at any time for huge runs quickly drew the attention of the NFL. After all the haters and doubters, Josh Allen became the highest drafted Wyoming player in school history and is developing into a superstar at the highest level. Aaron Rodgers. You wouldn't think that Aaron Rodgers, the 3-time MVP, the ageless wonder with a game as smooth as his mustache, went unwanted out of high school. Rodgers makes QB look so effortless, you forget all the trials and tribulations he's been through. But Rodgers had to prove it over and over again, and it started at Pleasant Valley High School. Rodgers set almost every passing record at Pleasant Valley, with great grades, and even got a 3-star rating from 24/7 Sports. Despite all of that, he didn't get any attention from colleges. Illinois was the only school who even gave him a preferred walk-on offer, where Rodgers would have to pay to play. Rodgers had the Tom Brady combine body going on, and colleges didn't think he had what it took to be the face of a program. Rodgers even contemplated going to law school instead. But like they always say, if you can play, they will find you. Rodgers bet it all on himself and went to JUCO Butte Community College. There, he shined, throwing 26 touchdowns. Still, Rodgers went unrecruited until Cal Berkeley head coach Jeff Tedford came out to recruit another player. He couldn't help but notice young Rodgers throwing darts. He brought him back to Cal immediately. Ironically, it took Rodgers beating Illinois to become the permanent starter at Cal. After a 3-year stint, he still fell to 24th overall in the NFL Draft and had to sit behind Packer legend Brett Favre for a few years. I think it's safe to say everything worked out in the end. Antonio Brown. As a 6th-round pick, AB is an all-time draft steal. His off-field setbacks and work ethic in the classroom almost killed his career before it began. Actually, a quarterback in high school, Antonio was a star and was a 2-time All-State selection. He hoped his play would get him into Florida State, but he was rejected because of poor grades. Even Alcorn State pulled his loan offer because he didn't have the grades. This forced him to attend JUCO North Carolina Tech Prep. AB once again shined on the field and earned an offer from FIU. Things were looking up for Antonio Brown until he once again got in his own way. Less than a week after he got to campus, Brown was expelled after an altercation with campus security. AB was back to square one until Butch Jones took the head coaching job at Central Michigan. Jones recruited Brown heavily while he was the receivers coach at West Virginia and gave him a chance to come in as a walk-on. The Florida kid picked up and moved all the way to chilly Mount Pleasant, Michigan, and made the switch to wide receiver. To make it work, AB lived with the CMU receivers coach until they offered him a full scholarship. Brown went on to be the most decorated player in CMU history. His path has always been unorthodox, but there's no denying that when on the field, AB is a baller. Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is the crown jewel of the NFL. Would you believe that coming out of high school, he was only a 3-star recruit? Mahomes' first love was baseball, and it makes sense. His dad was an MLB pitcher. Patty even once threw a 16-strikeout no-hitter in high school. But Mahomes fell in love with the gridiron, and the gridiron loved him back. Those numbers we are used to seeing from him on Sunday? Yeah, he's been doing that since high school. In his senior season, he went for 4,600 passing yards and 50 touchdowns, 950 rushing yards and 15 rushing touchdowns, and was named Max Prep's Athlete of the Year. How did this guy only get 4 offers? He ended up choosing Texas Tech over Houston, Oklahoma State, and Rice. There, he rewrote the Red Raider history books, including a game where he threw for over 734 yards and had 814 all-purpose yards, both which are NCAA records. It's an anomaly that so many major programs missed on Mahomes. It didn't stop there either. He was also the 3rd quarterback selected in his NFL draft class. Sorry, Bears fans, Andy Dalton isn't so bad, right? J.J. Watt. You know J.J. Watt is a generational talent at defensive end. But what about the barely used tight end for Central Michigan? Better yet, what about the Pizza Boy? After his junior year of high school, J.J. Watt was going to hit college camps when he was struck with mono. So not only did he have to sit out the offseason going into his senior year, he couldn't get stronger, and he even lost weight. College teams wouldn't even get close to a 6'5" end who only weighed 215 pounds. So what did Watt do? Put together a great senior season. But he still didn't have any offers until he went out and dominated a 5-star Wisconsin offensive tackle recruit. Only then did Watt get some smaller school offers. He ended up committing to Central Michigan, who tried to move him to tight end, where he only caught 8 passes his freshman year and didn't play much. The chip was back on Watt's shoulder. He knew he was a defensive end. So he left Central Michigan and had 2 choices: quit and be a pizza boy, or walk on at Wisconsin. Luckily for football fans around the world, Watt chose Wisconsin. It wouldn't take long before the former 2-star recruit showed he was too good to have been passed over for so long. In his 2 seasons at Wisconsin, he racked up over 10 sacks and 100 tackles. This was enough to get him drafted 11th overall by the Texans in 2011. I think we can all be grateful that J.J. Watt has been rushing quarterbacks in the NFL instead of rushing pizzas to your front door. Khalil Mack. Yeah, don't even try to act like you knew who Khalil Mack was before the 2014 NFL Draft. But you're not alone. Neither did any college coaches when Mack was in high school. Before he was sacking QBs on Sunday, Mack was a basketball standout. A patella tendon injury set him out his junior year of high school, and Mack had never even played football before. His physicality and insane work ethic translated perfectly to the football field. He played just his senior year and only had minor interest from Liberty University. That's until the guy recruiting him at Liberty moved to the University of Buffalo, where he pounded the table to get Mack an offer. It took one college coach that saw what nobody else saw. Khalil Mack was every bit a freak of nature, getting better on the field with every snap he played. Going into his senior year at Buffalo, he was considered a second-round pick. Then Mack put the world on notice with one of the most dominant opening day performances to date against Ohio State. 9 tackles, 2.5 sacks, and a pick 6. You can no longer ignore Khalil Mack. He was the best player on the field against one of the nation's best teams. He finished his senior season with 10.5 sacks and 100 tackles, and was drafted 5th overall by the Raiders in 2014. All it takes is one person believing in a player to change their entire life. This was the case with Khalil Mack and so many others. I hope that recruiter got a nice raise.